Let's get started. All right. So before I mute everyone, I'll just keep everyone on for now, and probably I'll mute everybody so that there won't be any disturbances afterwards. Yeah. All right. Thanks, first of all, and welcome all for and then joining this beautiful session that you're going to be really loving it. Right. Before we start, some very key points. The session is planned for an hour. Even if it goes beyond an hour, a little bit over shots with some questions or so, it can overflow to 10 or 15 minutes, not beyond that. During the presentation, if you have any questions, I would suggest you at least raise your hand or put your questions there. We will continue the presentation, but in between, I will pause to probably address if you have any questions, and then we will move on. So what I will do is I will unmute the session when it is time, and we will do the discussion, and then we again go back to mute and go on with. All right, is that arrangement all good with everyone?
Okay.
Okay, great. Let's get started. And just for your information, I'm just recording this session so that whoever is not able to join today, at least few of them were not able to join. So it'll be useful. I will publish this after the call. And if there are things that you want to take a look later, you can go and play the recording. Okay. All right. I'm going to mute everybody for now. Okay. That's done. And the recording has started. Okay, once again, welcome all. And let me start with a tiny bit of an introduction about myself. Okay, not too much. Of course, you can read this slide. Just very quickly, I'm having about close to 3 decades of corporate experience. And I'm a certified ICF coach, professional coach. And I've started doing coaching more externally to the external parties in the last 2+ years. But prior to that, about 12 years or so, in my organization, I've been doing coaching and mentoring as part of the organizational requirement. I'm basically an IT professional in the area of customer service and operations, been working for a multinational company, currently with an SME. I'm more driven by leadership and beyond management. What leadership is all about is getting people and showing people path and supporting them and getting them up to where they need to be. And I started doing coaching as more of a passion work. I've started doing in 3 areas. One is leadership, of course, which is close to my heart. And then I've started seeing people who were transitioning in their careers, switching in their careers, who've been struggling to really find their pathway. So that had been another area, being experienced in the technology space, being experienced in managing larger teams regionally, and also serving customers globally. That experience and knowledge is something that I started sharing. And on top of all these two, motivating people to go where they want to. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of putting this training together today to help people out. Moving on, let me start our presentation today with this nice quote by Gary Douglas. Gary Douglas is a coach and he's a keynote speaker. Consciousness. We need to be conscious about what we are doing. How we are doing is secondary. What we are doing, where do we want to go, is the primary purpose of what we are doing, and how comes naturally. So what he says is consciousness is the ability to be present in your life in every moment. Being present in each and every moment really matters. It's a big thing. If I'm not present in this moment, the moment is lost. If I'm not enjoying this moment is lost. And I certainly have to thank you folks for joining, taking your 60 minutes off from your regular activities and whatnot that you have been doing as you are working from home. We are all working from home. And this 60 minutes, give it to yourself. I want you to be present here participative, 100%. And this 60 minutes can get you somewhere, at least some message, some outcome that you can take out of this presentation today, this training today, which can help you with your clear decisions as you may want to take going forward. Definitely, well, I'm not going to share something to make some quick bucks. And it is not something about quick wins. It is about where one is currently and where one needs to go for betterment, for personal growth, for professional growth, for anything that you want to achieve. Time is now, right? Time is right, time is now. And I love to share my knowledge. And as I share my knowledge, ready to support also if anyone need any further assistance. Gary goes forward with his second part of consciousness. He says it is also the ability to receive everything, reject nothing. And since you have given really your ears or whoever has invited you, and that's the reason you're here, and you've started receiving it, that's a very good sign as well. Thanks once again for that. So what are we going to cover today? Agenda-wise, we're going to touch a little bit about what is the current state of you, current state of me, current state of everybody, current state of environment. What is this environment telling us? Every action, every happening has a meaning, right? And this is not philosophical. This is the fact. When something happens, it is for a reason. When you kind of take a step back and think about it, either you may have asked a question in the past about why me? What am I going to do? And all those are kind of coming together. One thing I tell people about these virus situations, I'm not blaming anybody, by the way, just stating the fact again. I've started seeing quite a lot of Hollywood movies talking about virus outbreak, talking about all sorts of fanciful thing in the screen, on the screen. All those have created quite a bit of a vibe, and everybody liked, me inclusive. Okay, I confess that. One such time, I've been watching only horror movies. I've been watching only those kind of vampire movies. So all those things, Day After Tomorrow was one such movie, right? And all these things literally created fair bit of negative vibe. And probably that's the reason why we are where we are today and how we are managing our situation today. That's just my view, right? Just wanted to share that. Then in the agenda, we will look at our state of mind. Then we'll move on to what is it that we want to achieve? Where is that we want to go? Our destination. Do we know our destination? If there is one, well and good. If there is something which is not too clear, what is it? How do we really define the destination? Then, in order to reach the destination, do I have the right skills? If I don't have the right skills, what I have been doing in the past, can those knowledge that I have acquired, can those skills and my expertise be something that is going to take me to where I want to go tomorrow, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And when is the right time to start? Of course, now. So that's the niche that we are going to touch on. And finally, the decision. Of course, beyond finally, there is a Q&A session as well. Okay, with that introduction on the agenda, let's move on. Well, this is a slide you may have seen when you have registered, when you have kind of pulled in my LinkedIn profile or pulled in from the references that you have got from whoever that had literally brought you here, right? So this particular slide, of course, is self-explanatory. When you make that decision to act, taking that massive action is what is going to take you to the next level. Where do you really want to go is the bigger question. What is desired to be attained? Only when I am clear in my mind about it and I commit to it, to take actions, to go where I want to go, then it just happens. One bigger thing that we are going to talk about in the next slide is about fear. Oh, well, why is this happening? Or why is this happening to me? I don't really want to be in this position. Well, all those things which are not in our control are not in our control. So we have to really keep our mind very clear and ensure that things which are not in our control, things which are uncertain at this point of time, things which can be happening due to misaligned focus are the things that we have to acknowledge, probably accept as well. Okay. Fear to me is purely due to uncertainty. I do not know what is going to happen tomorrow, or it could just be misaligned focus. I don't have a clear focus. Let me just probably share this thought process about the mind keeps on thinking about what it does not want. Why is that I'm keep talking about, hey, I don't want the road to be jammed. I'll be late to work. I'll be late to my meeting. Why am I really focusing on, hey, I'm going out. I don't want it to be raining. I just want, I just don't want to get wet. So the focus is on the negative aspect of the don'ts rather than thinking really bright, thinking really about positivity with respect to how about this on, I expect the road to be very clear and I will reach office, I'll reach my meeting on time. That's telling yourself a statement of positivity. Then the other thing is, I'm going to go out, I'm expecting clear skies. And when these vibrations go out, certainly that gives the confidence and the courage, and what you need to achieve will certainly follow through. And in this massive action slide, you also see why part of it. The why aspect of it drives what you really want to achieve. The why is the purpose. Unless otherwise we know the purpose, why we want to do what we want to do, there is no way that we can get to the next step. When we know the purpose, then that purpose is going to drive us. And that purpose is going to take us to the next level. And that purpose will align the path to find how am I going to reach to that next level and next path. Let me move on. Current state. This is the reality as we are all working from home, right? So we are working from home. Why are we working from home? Why the kids are at home studying from home? This is the first time ever, probably in the last 20, 25, 30 years, that anybody had seen that this whole city, country, and beyond this, the whole world is predominantly working and studying from home. This is going to be the new norm, right? Whether we like it or not. After all these are over, what people have started seeing is going virtual, doing remote is working. Even though the productivity may be sluggish at this point of time, and there are still industries and domains and sectors where 100% doing home-based work is not possible, but ground reality is that huge portion of what is being, what is that we are seeing today is doable remotely, virtually. Today, the ground reality is, well, of course, when we go to NTUC and when we go to supermarkets, the food supplies are still flowing in. That's a good thing. And in fact, in certain situations of the three basic needs, almost the bigger portion of it is food supplies. That has been challenged now. You can't go out and get food. And there are ways and means, and fortunately, the whole environment has been preparing itself that now we have more and more options to order food from outside. And also, it is also turning most of us to do home-based cooking, which quite a lot of us forgotten for the sake of getting too busy at work, for the sake of convenience, so to speak. Okay, and quite a lot of us are now very much concerned about health and the safety. Right. World Economic Forum talks more about economic slowdown, digital transformation, Industry 4.0, and also quite a lot of unforeseen, uncertain situations which can impact the jobs in the market, right? There are quite a lot that only we can get to know. However, there are numerous things which we are in control. There are so much that we can't control. There are so many that we can control, and take action instead of waiting. Instead of waiting that, oh, this is all these are going to be over, and then let me start after that. Let that if that thinking is true, when all these are over, there are going to be quite a lot of people who have taken their time in upskilling, their time in looking at what they should be doing, and looking back at what they have been doing and where they really want to go and start putting their goals. There we are here. So taking action, that's why I kind of mentioned that massive action is very much important. And that's what is the hope is talking about. False hope is, I call this more like a fear factor, right? We will talk about it in a bit on four different layers from fear to growth, right? Some of you may have seen those circles, but putting in perception and getting deep, how I can be part of this and where I am going to get through is really most important at this point of time. Okay, talking about the false hope or the fear factor, very recently, what I have came across through one of the other virtual coaches, speakers that I normally follow to take some tips and tricks. Andrew Lacidita is a guy who just shared something, and I'm happy to share that about how do we really get ourselves out of the fear factor. The fear can be anything and everything, and he put it very nicely in three areas. In order to really defeat the fear, there should be confidence. That level of confidence is not born with us. It needs to be built. When you start building it, that's what is going to take us forward, defeating the fear or making the fear as the driving factor, which is going to be really fueling what we should be doing. And we should be happy about knowing that I have a fear in something. So starting with, if example, this is, I have done quite a lot of presentation. I've done public speaking, and doing a virtual presentation training like this is probably the second or third, but again, to an unknown public, to a portion of unknown public, this could be the first one. This has given me a barrier to break. That's one. Coming back to, if there is a fear in me to do this, then the first step I should be doing is repeating this. Keep on doing this. Keep on really doing, presenting, repeating. From a work perspective, if your boss gives to achieve something, if it is a sales goal, target beyond that. Do a repetitive action. When you start repeating certain things, that will take you to the next level. Repetition or working on things more practice-wise is the mother of skills. That's what Tony Robbins says. When you start repeating, that becomes your second nature, and that defeats your fear. That's item number one. Two, when you're having a bigger project, bigger challenge that you are trying to really look through and trying to, hey, how am I going to do this? This is such a big thing. I have to do A, B, C, D, E, and my time is too little. What am I going to do? And getting so much hung up on the final outcome, and so much hung up on the massive size of the project, the massive size of the outcome, the massive size of the actions that one needs to take. At that point of time, take a step back. Break that massive challenge, massive action into smaller chunks. If you are writing a book, for example, that's your area of expertise, and you love writing and you have so much of stories to tell, and you start writing. Don't worry about how am I going to write, how many chapters, how this is going to be seen, and who is the publisher that I'm going to be using. Rather, take the first step. First step is, yes, I'm going to write a book, and start with one single chapter, or start putting together a framework about what is that you're going to cover. Once that step is over, one step at a time, then move on to the next step. And of course, you need an overall planning, no doubt about that. And if you don't do that, it's going to be a forever thing. But once you have that higher level plan, take one step at a time. Once you start the first step, then you go to the next step. Then after a week, after 2 weeks, when you turn back, you may have achieved quite a lot. And at that point of time, you will see, what was the fear? Where is it now, right? That's the second aspect. Third aspect, I've heard people, and Andrew was also sharing the same thing, where people were saying, hey, I'm fear of stage. Hey, I'm very much fear to come in front of the camera. I don't know how am I going to do this when everything goes virtual. Is that a real factor? Maybe not. The real factor is the fear of rejection. What if somebody really comments saying that I did not dress well? Well, fine. If that is the case, take that as a positive feedback and dress well, or change the way that you appear in front of the camera, appear in front of the people where you're going to be public speaking. If it is a grammatical issue, improve your vocabulary. If it is something, example, I'm a photographer, people are going to give me negative comments. If I throw something as my gig and then I start doing something and I post it in a social media, there are going to be people who are going to be critical about it. Take the positives and reject whatever does not really make sense to you. And that is really a value, because once you start doing that, it's only a small portion of people who are going to be giving you those unnecessary, unwarranted feedback. There's a huge population who would benefit from what you're going to be sharing. So do it for them. When you do it for them, that's the satisfaction that defeats the fear. Right? I just wanted to take that as a bigger message, right? Let's throw the worries away, and all those worries only focus on destruction, on impacts, concerns, fears, and whatnot. And the list can go on and on and on. And one of the challenges I took yesterday is stop reading news, seeing news for a day. Concentrate on something else. When I see something negative, that kind of either I forward it to somebody else and start talking about it. Rather, I use that value of time doing something very nice, very good, that gives some potential to me, some potential or value to somebody else in my close circle or extended circle. So the bigger question here is, what do we want to control in any of these things? If it is not in our control, why bother? Think about what is in our control, and then move forward with what is in our control, rather than worrying about what is not in our control. Moving on, this is what I was talking about, the 4 circle step. The innermost gray circle is the comfort zone. That's where people either feel the fear or they feel that they are safe. It's just the borderline of, well, there is a tiny bit of fear, but they still see that, hey, no, nothing will come to me. I will be always very good. Where I'm in a stronger position. Nothing is going to happen to me. And this is only going to affect people who are not safe and secure. Well, do we know that COVID is going to affect all of us around the globe within a month's time, even shorter than that, right? Everything started in January timeframe, February, it was kind of expanding, kicking bigger, and all of a sudden, one country after the other country started shutting down. Where is this comfort zone sitting currently, right? So it's not, I'm not saying that this is going to happen forever or whatnot, but sitting in the comfort zone, thinking that nothing is going to happen to me, versus I take an action to control what is in my control about my life, about what I can do next, where I can go next, make use of the time, upskill myself, go forward with all those that are very much essential for me to be better in my life tomorrow, for my family, for my own self, for the people around me. It's an act of giving. It's an act of setting my own self to be a better citizen, global citizen, probably. Okay. Then moving on to the fear zone, lack of self-confidence. Once that kicks in, probably quite a number of us today are there. Well, I'm not putting myself there, certainly, but knowing that I'm in the fear zone is one big leap forward. I know that there is something that is not right. I find excuses, of course, to kind of overcome some of these things. Maybe thinking that and blaming on others, blaming on something else. And I've been keep hearing about Trump, people talking about Trump. Trump should have done this, should have done that. Why is Trump pulling off the UN sanctions and the WHO sanctions at this point of time, pandemic? Well, that is his decision. I'm not in control of what he is deciding, but I'm in control of what I can do. I can go out and help the frontliners today. That's the thing I should be thinking about rather than worrying about what is Trump doing. Again, don't mistake me, because all these which are not in our control, nothing much that we're going to do other than talking about it. Okay? Well, the third circle is the learning circle. The learning phase is the phase that is very, very important. Probably I can vouch that all of us in this conversation today, we are probably in the learning circle, and we are learning something as a new skill, or trying to extend our connections, trying to engage with people, trying to collaborate, trying to partner with someone in this learning process, getting to know how to manage my day, getting to know how to manage the challenges in front of me, getting to know how to be working from home. That's one big thing, right? While all the businesses were literally struggling, the remote connectivity conferencing systems sellers are making huge money. Zoom is one such company, right? So is it by chance they came out there? Probably it was their dream, their vision, that they wanted to get to a level where they want to be. And maybe that is vibrating in the universe, and nature is responding back to them. Zoom just came about a few years back. Skype was there long time back. Why Skype is not really catching up? Yeah, of course they are doing currently. So these are all some examples that you can take forward. Once you are into the learning zone, that will naturally take you to the growth zone. Find who you are. That's the fundamental to anything and everything, to take ourselves to the next step. Where we are good at where we are, and where we want to be, that is the betterment of tomorrow. When you grow to the betterment of tomorrow, that's when it becomes the purpose clarified, understanding of who I am, where do I want to go, and then get all the tools and techniques and skills that are needed to get there. And that's what this final growth circle is talking about. In fact, there is a 7-layer diagram which even takes and talks about exponential growth. Okay, well, we are not going to be talking about that today. So just sharing with you with this simple thing. Some of you may have seen these, and I've seen quite a lot of variations in this talking about comfort zone with COVID-19 situation. Yeah, whatever things that you can change as a scenario, these layers are still going to be there. And what you can see is the core of it is the comfort zone. Once you break out of that, and then break yourself out of the darkness of fear, take smaller steps, as I talked about in the previous slide. Simple, smaller steps, one step at a time. But that one step needs to be a firm step. Be committed. If you are really committed, that's something that you're going to be really achieving. So the question is, where are you in this circle? Probably you all know. And why are you there? What is that you're going to do to get out of that circle and move towards the growth zone? And think about what is that you can do to get there, right? So now coming to the main gist of today's learning. 4 steps. What are those 4 steps? Let me just touch on very quickly on the 4 steps. The first and foremost step is identifying who you are. It's not about mentioning name. Let me just pull James here just for the discussion's sake. It's not about who are you. Yeah, I'm James. I'm a coach or whatever that he has as a title or a corporate leader. It's not that. Identity about who you are as an inner self. And then talk about what are you good at. Again, James, sorry, James, I'm putting you on the spot. James's skills, his skills of the last X number of years. What did he really achieve, and what is that he has acquired as his knowledge? What skills that he has, and how he can either brush those skills, brush that knowledge, or make use of that knowledge and go to the next level, right? Finding the niche is what is going to happen by doing who you are. Then comes, where do you want to go? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 12 months? The reason I put 12 months here is very simple. Today, we have a lot more of time. Every day I have extra time. I should be doing something good, reasonable, learn a new skill, read a new book, or get online to find something that is useful to me, not get online to go to Facebook or get online to read news or whatnot. That's not what I want to do. But rather, I want to do something which is very much useful to me. Okay, so it can be 12 months, it can be 6 months. If you think within 6 months you want to achieve something, then certainly you can do what you really want to do. Well, I'm talking about James Campbell. I saw a question from Ed. Well, that's James has a YouTube. I got to check with him. When I open up for the chats, probably we can do that. All right, where do you want to go? This is the second aspect of it. And then why you really want to go there. This is the purpose and the deep resonance of why I really want to do this. Okay, the deep resonance of finding the purpose. If the purpose is not strong enough, okay, where do I want to see myself? I can just say that, well, in 12 months' time, I want to be a millionaire. Then comes why you want to be a millionaire. It does not stop there. Well, I want to be rich. That's not good enough. It needs to sink in, really deep value. Without 1 million, what are you going to do? That kind of more in-depth of what you really want to achieve, and that has a purpose, why you really want to achieve. The last component is how, and we will talk about it in the next slides. I'm going to pause here for a bit before we move on to the next set of slides. Let me just open up the unmute all the parties. And if you guys have any questions, maybe we will have a quick chat about those questions. All right, all your lines are unmuted. If you have a question, check your mic, and then if you are in a mute button, unmute yourself and throw your questions. Anyone have any questions? If not, I will ask a question, which is the pace okay? Am I rushing too fast? Okay, if there are no questions, things are very clearly getting along. If that's the case, then I will just keep going. Thanks, Faith. Okay, I'll mute everybody again, and then let's get on to the slides. Okay, so how is the part I want to make sure you go away with something that you can start working on, okay? And in this how part, there are basically 4 questions. The how part of this is more important about really narrowing down your niche, that's one thing, and also taking yourself smaller steps, but firmer steps. When you start doing all these 4 steps, you will have a clarity about what you really want to do. It can be a side hustle. It can be something that you want to see yourself getting to, something that you're passionate about, doing something. Not really scared about what's going to happen after the crisis is over, economical downturn and whatnot. At least time is now, and start working on something that is going to really help you in getting yourself aligned, getting ready, and it may not happen overnight, right? So have to start somewhere. Why not it be now? So the 4 items, list the 3 things that make you stand out from your competition. This is about what are you good at? This is about what are you passionate about? You think about yourself and you put yourself in the position. Let me give that photography as an example. If I'm a photographer, I want to be a successful photographer, then what should I be really looking at? Photography is a vast area, right? You can be a wildlife photographer. You can be a night photographer. You can be a classic food photographer. Where is your interest? What are you so passionate about? Is lighting your passion? What is it? Ask yourself that question and bring out 3 fundamental, real big things that make you stand out from another fellow photographer. What is that value that you bring? Why are you so special? I'm telling you, this is not easy and straightforward. When you look at the question, like 100 feet, 1,000 feet high level, it's going to be, how am I going to see what am I so good about? Only you know, right? So sit in a calm place, think about what are you good at first. And from there, list the 3 things that takes you out and puts you into a position which makes you stand out from your competition. Next, your 3 specific skills you have developed which make you successful at what you do. The skills can be, I'm still keeping photography as an example here. So the skills can be knowing how to take close-ups, knowing how to really do a post-processing and make your photographs to stand out. some of the skills that you have acquired over a period. Okay, I'm just keeping photography as an example, but it kind of relies with what are the skills, what is the area that you're looking at. It can be a soft skill, it can be a hard skill, it can be anything that you are aligned with in your industry, in your space, in your domain. Okay, then list two things that you never outsource that makes you happiest in your business or work. For example, when I do any kind of video for my posting in LinkedIn or posting in social media, Facebook, wherever, I won't outsource beautifying it, the post-production, adding some wordings there, adding some graphics, putting some stuffs which kind of makes the whole video a lot more sellable. That is my way of looking at it. I won't outsource it. Similarly, what you're doing, there should be two things that you are best at it. If you think you're best at it, that's your value. And you should be happy doing it, and you should continue doing that. List two of them. And your epiphany moments, these are the moments where you felt so happy that you achieved something. And there should be quite a lot. I'm only asking you to write down two stories which were your turning point in your life. The best stories, and that moment which kind of gave you the spark, which kind of gave you the trigger, a turning point. Let me just share with you what was my turning point. My turning point was my retrenchment in 2017. I was working for Oracle Corporation at that time, and it was a decision, and I had to close down 5 different countries support organization, and then I have to kind of close down one in Singapore as well. So I got myself out. I was happy. That was an epiphany moment for me, because probably I was sitting in a comfort zone. I was still in a learning zone as well. However, I was growing, nevertheless, giving a bigger thought process about what else that I can do. And then that's when I started really doing things in coaching. If that had not happened, I may not be talking to you today in this forum, right? So think about it. What is it for you? So this is the starting point to build your castle, to realize your dreams. The why and how part are very critical in the 4-step process to achieve your dream after finishing the destination. Okay. I'm just going to kind of highlight that we started around 10 minutes past, and we have about 10 minutes to the bottom of the hour. Well, I would certainly request you to stay on for another 10 minutes. There are about 6-7 more slides to complete. I will quickly run them down, but the next slide is very important. So let's move on to that first. Power of questioning. I really love the way how Rhonda Byrne puts it. I like her books. I started reading Secret, and then Power, Hero, and or whatnot. And then if you have been following those books, well and good. If you have not, I would strongly suggest read them when you get time. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just share a very short snippet from one of her audiobooks. And what this is talking about is you ask a question in your mind. When you start questioning yourself, why certain things are happening in a way and how are you connected? Not blaming, right? It's about what should I be doing? And this is where my current status is. Where should I go? And whatnot. And she's going to be sharing very simple day-to-day lifetime kind of a thing example. And you think about it as a takeaway, and you will be able to resonate. And I had multiple resonance with what she was sharing. Let's get hearing this, and I'm going to probably need to have a show of hand if this is audible or not. Okay, sorry about that. Probably the audio piece did not come out very well. Um, so what she talked about, and what I will do is probably I will share that link together with the recording when I share it with all of you folks. It's just 1.5 minutes of audio sharing by her. So she was kind of talking about, she was asking questions when some events happen. So the whole chunk of what she was sharing was she was rushing to go to a meeting, which is almost like late. And then she was looking for the keys and she could not find the keys. And alas, when she found the keys, she was going to go out of the door. And that's the time the phone rings. Then she realized, hey, I forgot my phone. Then she goes in and picks up the phone, and that's where her wallet was, or her handbag was also lying. And then she picked both and answered the phone. The person who called on the phone was telling her that the appointment has been postponed, right? So she was trying to highlight and share um, primarily that asking or things that are happening and relating that, asking a question, why this is happening right now, and there is an answer immediately, right? So this is a simple example, but it's relating to ask a question and you will get a response. And when the response comes, it can be immediate, it can be tomorrow, it can be 1 month later, right? So I personally value understanding everything is happening for a reason. And there is a reason why definitely all of us are here together, right? So this is the power of questioning. So after hearing the power of question, after hearing me sharing the 4 steps, now the decision of going to where you really want to go, what are the actions that you want to take, is with you. And whenever a decision comes in, always it comes with 3 choices. Every day, in every kind of moment, we are taking our decisions, and all those decisions are based on 3 choices. First of it is, well, first one with respect to deciding whether I need to do this or not. The first action is the mind thinks about attributing to an inaction. It's more of blaming the situation. Why is this happening? Why am I affected? Why should I be working at home? Blaming it on the event. If not, blaming it on someone or something. So I blame it on somebody because of so and so, my project got delayed. Because of the delay with the customer side, this got delayed. It's attributing it to somebody. Or sometimes it is attributing and blaming self. Blaming self is either good or not good, but the bigger aspect of it is more with the aspect of blaming me and then pulling me down, or blaming me to get myself better at it, right? The next one is, there are things which are not in my control. When something that is not in my control, why bother? That's what we discussed about at the earlier stage. I want to rather focus on things which are in my control. When something is not in my control, that kind of goes to, well, yeah, it is not in control. And if I want to change it this way, for example, in the current situation, I shouldn't be going out. I should stay home. I should not be asking why. No, I want to go. No, I want to go and play with my friends. I want to go and have coffee with my friends. That's not really a choice, isn't it? The last item is acknowledging and taking control. Take action. Be self-aware and embrace the change, and make sure we go forward to take this change into the forward moment, right? Noticing all these choices, now the question goes back to you is, what is your choice, right? It is fundamentally making one's self-choice, being self-aware, and moving forward. What I can offer is I'm ready to collaborate and support as needed. There you can find my contact number and email ID. Certainly be happy to support whatever decision. If anything beyond this call, beyond this training, if you need any help, feel free to drop me an email. Feel free to call me, text me, and we can certainly work certain things that I know I'm going to be sharing, right? So a very quick recap of the actions. One thing that you are going to be working on, finding your own self. Finding self is most important. You are as a person, as a professional, and what skills and knowledge do you have? And that's the first action. Your destination, where do you want to go and why do you want to go where you want to go? This is critical. Without completing item number 2, going to item number 3 has no big effect. I would suggest make sure to find who you are and your destination and where you want to go, why, the purpose that you want to go. Then get deep dive into narrowing down your niche, your passion. What is that you love doing? And that's what is going to carry you to the next levels. Okay? All these actions are just words only if you don't have any kind of timeline, right? I'm just only sharing a sample here. Day 1, all you can do is identify yourself and your destination. Day 2, fine tune your day 1 actions. Day 3, you want to achieve what do you want to achieve and why do you want to achieve? And then day 4, find your niche. Day 5, get your niche to sub niche it, make sure that is the strength, and so on and so forth. This is just a sample. Any goal needs to be time bound. If there is no time limit, time bound, whatever that you are taking away after this session today is not going to be of any use, right? So you've spent a good 60 minutes and put it to work. That's my kind request. There are a couple of bonuses. Well, I have to personally thank one of my coach, Dean Graziosi. I've learned some of these things as a survival kit from him. I'm sharing it with you. I'll be very happy to share them because this may not be that much readable here. Surviving versus thriving. What do you do on a day-to-day basis in the current crisis situation? Staying at home. What is that you can focus on when you start your day, during your work time? What is your mindset? What is your personal growth? Where is your leadership standing as a surviving person versus a thriving person? And we, as people together, should be striving to go forward with that level of energy. I'm very happy to share this. And shoot me an email or leave a comment in my LinkedIn profile. I can share those bonuses as slides and that you can make use of. Print them, stick them somewhere, and reflect. That's one. And the second bonus is on gratitude, right? There are 3 aspects. The 3 areas that Dean is sharing here is wonderful in the area of thanking somebody who has really helped you. And giving thanks is one of the better ways to really get things going, moving in the right direction. One thing that I've started doing in the past few months is journaling. I used to do this on and off, not something like a diary writing. I've started doing things like outcome journaling, whereby I put what I should be achieving, and after achieving, I just make sure that those are captured. And this is a daily journal. And he also talks about gratitude alarm. I'm very much happy to share them. Certainly, just shoot me an email. I will share them with you. Right, before we close the session today, I just want to conclude on this second last slide. Wish to leave behind some stronger thoughts. First one, this is from Frank Clark. If you find a path with no obstacles, it probably does not lead anywhere. It's definitely very true in my opinion and my experience. The obstacles are the ones which are the stepping stones for me. We learn during the challenging times, we push ourselves hard to get through the storms. And as a byproduct, we learn new things. We learn new skills. We make new friends. We get going when such a thing happens. Fear is the memory of pain. Addiction is the memory of pleasure. Freedom is beyond both. This is from one of my virtual coach, Deepak Chopra. We talked enough about fear, and the key words here is pain and pleasure. Let me share a story about dieting, right? If I'm on a dieting program, people see dieting as dying, D-I-E, the first three characters of dieting, right? So it's more of associating pain while dieting. No, I can't eat this. Oh, I have to do so much of exercise and stressing so much, and the pain is so humongous that we are not able to really achieve what we want to achieve as part of the goal. Or if you do it with so much of energy, it just lasts for few days and few weeks. If not, then it dies off. And chocolate being something, when I see chocolate, well, most of us will have saliving when we talk about chocolate. And when we talk about chocolate during dieting, I see pleasure in eating chocolate, but pain in dieting. And there should be a transformation happening. Instead of taking this as a transactional activity of dieting as the pain, I have to transform it to see when I diet, when I do the normal exercising, the physique that I'm going to get, which is going to give me so much of self-respect, self-esteem, how much that pushes me up emotionally, physically, mentally, physically, in some situations, even financially, right? I can go out and then show off saying that it worked for me. And that pleasure needs to transform in such a way that dieting should not be a pain, rather a pleasure. The path to success is to take massive determined action. This is what we have started when we started this presentation. So in order to get where you want to go, massive actions, and that too, be determined actions is the way. Who can take control of your own selves? Certainly, call me in if you need anything, and I can be your buddy, and we can do a supportive role moving forward. That brings me to the last slide, and I'm leaving my contact details there if you want to take note of them. If not, it is going to be available in the LinkedIn page where I will leave the recording of this sessions. Let me unmute all of you and take any questions that you may have. Hi everyone, I've unmuted everybody. What questions do you have? Or any takeaways to share?
Yeah, thanks again, Rex. This is Faith.
Yes, Faith. Go
Okay,
on.
I really think what we are in right now in these times is really, as everyone knows, is really unprecedented. And I think the recovery to the entire economy, I mean, we are really facing many fronts now, not just financial and all that. So to come back to stay relevant, I think all of us really have to see, what are the new areas moving forward. I mean, to me, there will be many areas that are going to be open to all of us, which we may never even have thought about before, because this one tiny virus has actually wiped out the entire globe, right, in a couple of months, right? So truly staying on top of it, being, embracing what is to come is of course very important. And that's why when people can't get out of that, they all land themselves up into stress, frustration, depression, and so on. So truly, I mean, what we have heard from you is true, that we need to find that niche, what we are good at, what we are lacking, we definitely have to fill that up. But also, I think being open-minded to a lot of opportunities out there, which we perhaps may never even have thought of in the old economy, which might present itself in, to me, I will call it a new economy after COVID-19. Okay, so it's really a brand new 2020, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, that's my sharing. Yeah.
That was wonderful reflection. Thanks, Faith, for that. Really appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions? Hey, James, you can unmute yourself. Can you not?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wouldn't let me earlier, so.
Okay.
I have just one thought for you to consider. Your first slide sort of resonated with me. The 4 stages.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, there is an opportunity. Actually, today we're probably in all 4. You know the slide I'm talking about?
Let me just pull that slide.
The one where it starts with our comfort zone.
There's the one?
Yeah, comfort zone.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time thinking about that, and it's a great slide. For me, this is an opportunity. We're probably in all 4 of these at various times. For example, you and I are definitely in, we're still in 1, probably 2, we're into 3, and we're growing. So I think it's a repetitive, not repetitive, it's sort of secular. We grow, and then we get in our comfort zone, so we have to grow again, and then we sort of keep going round and round. And I think that's a great slide. Good start.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it was resonating very well with what I have been doing. And that's the reason I kind of put that across, so that it's really useful to understand where we are and then move ourselves rather than just fishing in the air.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for the reflection, James. Any other feedback, comments, or even things like what worked or what did not work? I'm happy to take them as feedback. Yeah, go ahead. Ed, you can. Are you having issues? I think you're unmuted already. I can see your hand. Is that a question?
What's that? Sorry?
No.
Plane just fly past, could hear you.
No. There seems to be a hand raised by Ed, so I thought Ed has a question. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks, Surya, for joining. Any questions? Probably I'll kind of wait for a minute if there are any other questions. If not, we can close out. And do go back to my LinkedIn profile for the recording. And if you want to share it with your friends, colleagues, whoever might be interested in. And Victor, I will share that in the link with my LinkedIn, Victor. You did ask for it.
Thanks, Suresh.
Okay, I will call it a day today then. Once again, thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate that. And really wonderful that probably this is the first session. I would probably do more sessions like this just to share my knowledge and wherever that is going to be useful for people, right? Thanks everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.